Good morning, you guys. We are live. It's the Money Talk Show with Dana, where we talk about crypto and real estate here. So if those are topics that are interesting to you, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe. We're doing our best to be the bridge between investors, real estate operators, and entrepreneurs, and the crypto world, because we feel like crypto is the biggest opportunity over the next few years, and it's not even close. So welcome. We're pumped to have everybody. Got lots of interesting things to talk about today. Corey, go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely. Crypto Millionaires with Corey Geary here, and just super stoked to be on this exciting journey with all you Hexicans to this wealth creation via cryptocurrency and then wealth preservation down the road, hopefully in 2024, 25, where we are taking some of that money and putting it into some real estate to offset some gains and also preserve that wealth. And so, guys, if you're interested in any type of those strategies, let us know. You can always hit us up too. Dane's got the link here for the call if you want to know more about how we do that kind of stuff. It's going to be a great strategy when it comes time. But man, today's show, it's exciting. We got, Phiat that launched on the Ethereum network. I immediately went in and staked my coins, even though you're not going to be making any yield on the Phiat coins. If you guys understand where the yield comes from in Phiat, it's one of my favorite ways of making yield. Actually, it's like a business where all the fees that are generated from the platform, from people taking loans and whatnot, those fees are going to be paid to the Phiat stakers. Obviously the platform is not going to have a lot of adoption yet, so it might take a little time. But man, I'm super bullish over the protocol over the long haul. I think it's going to do amazing. Buck Phiat is doing phenomenal on creating a brand and doing marketing, and he's just getting so much awareness in our ecosystem. And I feel like it's going to get well adopted, especially when Pulsechain launches. It's going to be explosive. I'm super excited. What's your thoughts on it, Dane?
Yeah, I like Fiat a lot. So a couple of things I really like about it. The first is that you're not going to be, diluted into oblivion with a lot of these staking pools, right? You're having a hard time maintaining your position and having to buy and buy and buy and buy. Fiat, the pool, the amount of tokens is fixed, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right, Corey?
It is. It's fixed. It's 55 million. It's like 55,555,000. I think is what the fixed amount is, which is, like you said, it's really cool because since it's fixed, you don't have to worry about playing this chasing game. You can literally just stake it and say, okay, I will check on you in 2025, see where you're at. You don't got to worry about this game of cat and mouse that we have to do in some of these other protocols.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. So I like that a lot. I also like that it's yield from fees, just like you said, Corey. I mean, the fees from the platform generate the yield, and so it's real revenue generation. I think this is a big deal, especially there's a lot of people out there, in the crypto sphere, or more people from the outside looking in that are like, but it's not real. It's just fake internet money. And this is a really a much easier concept, I feel like, to explain to people, to help them wrap their head around how you can make real yield in crypto. And in fact, that's why I'm so excited for Pulsechain in general. There are so many protocols that you make passive income off of. It's bonkers. It's just bonkers.
It is.
So bonkers. Really excited about Phiat. I think that'll be cool. It'll be cool to see it on Pulsechain. And I'm with you. I haven't staked mine yet. In fact, I think I might hold mine liquid, because I think the Pulsechain will launch next month, and so I think I'll just hold mine liquid, and that way I can go ahead and take the free copy on Pulsechain and try to do something with it to extract some value. Since if you stake it on Phiat and you go to unstake it, you have a 14-day window where you can't do anything.
There might be a free copy, but Buck is disabling that contract as soon as Pulsechain launches.
Right. I'm hoping I can beat him to it and get a few pulse out of it. I figure I might as well try.
I like it. Yeah, because you're not missing much by not staking it right now.
Right.
Because the protocol does not have a lot of usage yet. It's when it's going to get beat on and used every single day that you're going to make all kinds of crazy, gains out of it. But right now, yeah, that's a great strategy. I wish I would have thought of that. I staked mine already. I mean, I could unstake it. It's a 14-day. I can unstake it, but I wish I'd have thought of that. Yeah.
I don't think it'd be a lot because just like you're saying, you're gonna get a free copy
That's
of your
true.
Fiat, but it's gonna be like stables. You'll get a copy, but they won't be worth much for long, most likely, because
But
Fiat
even a
has
few $100, like
yeah, trying to get a little bit.
I love it. I love it, man.
Paul says, is anyone shorting Hex yet? There's not a lot of activity. So we're in the Corey nailed it. So Corey lives in the Telegram chats, and so he texted this morning and was like, hey, they're in the Telegram chat talking about Fiat, and in there Buck was mentioning how he still has the training wheels on the protocol, so you can't borrow really heavy yet. You can't do anything super crazy. They just want to implement it, make sure there's no bugs, chase any of those out. And then he says it sounds like in the next few weeks, maybe the next month, they'll take the training wheels off, go to other communities, and start marketing the product, which is really exciting.
That is exciting, man. Because if we even do a 10th of what Aave does, oh my god, it's over, bro. It's over.
Mm-hmm. It was also really interesting in the chat how they were talking about. And Richard's talked about it too. They're forking these other protocols that are existing. They're finding a lot of issues in the code sets, and they're having to rework some of that stuff. They're having to make it better. So they've done that. They're feeling really good about where Aave or where their fork of Aave is at with eFiat, and they're putting their best dev on Famous now, which is really exciting. So Famous, they're putting him on that, and they even talked about taking that to other chains, getting more adoption. I mean, it is. I think if I were to talk about like my top 5 in my crypto portfolio, I've got Pulsechain, PulseX, Hex, and then I think those guys are right in there. Really excited about what they're building.
Me too, man. I'm super excited. To your point earlier, man, I'll tell you, with some of our real estate guys on boards, when I'm first presenting to them the opportunity in crypto, one of my slides, and this, is the famous slide, and I talk about how the fees that are generated from the people taking leverage trading, even though we don't leverage trade, but people are going to, like those fees are what pay to the stakers, and that's what makes it click for them. A lot of these guys, and so they understand, I see why that yield is being generated. It's like a business on the blockchain. And it's like, yeah, but the greatest part about it is there's no CEO, there's no management team, there's no centralized ownership, as opposed to like an FTX or Celsius when you gave your keys up to make that yield and they were lending your crypto out. But which you could do with Fiat. You can actually deposit your crypto and have it linked out, but it's all trustless, which is really cool. And so, man, it's just so exciting to be involved in this whole movement of DeFi and really watching it bloom into something that that kind of harmonizes with a real world use case. Like you know what I mean? It's a lot of fun. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun. Norbert says, hello, gents. Exciting news. Tried to stake my Fiat. Gas prices are crazy. Need to wait. Fair enough. Totally fair.
I paid around $50.
It's crazy.
I guess I had a little bit of FOMO. I should have.
No, it's wild out there, and just like you said earlier, Corey, the yield isn't going to be really crazy here in the early days, and so you could afford to wait if you really wanted to.
Yeah, it won't be for a while. I will also be interested to see when the platform really starts to kick up and do some and starts moving along, what the APYs will be like. For example, if I stake my Hex in there, which is basically you're lending your Hex, or if I stake my Hedron or Icosa, whatever other assets that you could do. You also could stake your stable coins for APY too, because people can take loans against, they can borrow your stable coins. And so it'll be interesting to see when those things kind of really kick up and see what kind of APYs they'll be generated on the platform, because I'll probably be a user of those other tools also. I like the idea of being the house, because I used to be a blackjack dealer for about 16 years. It was a great job, made over 6 figures a year. But one of the cool things that I saw every day was that casino always won, dude. Like they always win. And with these tools with Phiat and Famous, you get to be the house. You get to be the casino and put the basket of assets up and go, okay, moron, come in. Let's play, right? Let's play. You go be your DJ, and I'm gonna be the house, and you get to reap the rewards on that. And so, man, it's just so much fun to be able to do that, and I'm excited to do that. So I'll be watching that very closely. I'll also be doing it in Famous, where you can do the LP providing with the basket of
I'm
assets.
excited about Famous.
Yeah, and you can do the same thing. And so I'll be watching that very closely, where I can play the house in that protocol too. I love anything where I could be the casino and then you can come and play my casino. Let's go. I'll do that all day long.
Yeah, really excited about that protocol. So that'll be fun. So go if you haven't, and I think this is important. I just assume that everybody knows, but if you sacrifice for Famous, you also got a bonus of Fiat tokens. You have a year to claim those. And so you want to make sure you go claim those. They were speculating today on the in Telegram that, the stuff that hasn't been claimed at this point, most of it's probably not because people are just unaware or they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
And so, make sure
it's something like 12% or something stupid hasn't been claimed yet.
Yeah. Yeah, quite a bit. And the price chart's been nice. I mean, I've got an extra, 5 figures in free money from my Famous sacrifice.
Only in crypto, guys. You realize this? That Dane got 5 figures in free money. Did that ever happen to you in real estate? No, you had to work your ass off to get 5 figures in real estate.
So yeah, make sure you go claim those. You can claim those by going to fatty.io. You've got to connect your wallet and go through some steps in the checker to claim it. But make sure that you're doing that. Don't miss the opportunity.
Double check your URLs though, too, guys. If you guys are going to go in there and claim, and also if you're going to go to the Phiat protocol and do this and actually stake your coins, just triple check your URLs. Go into the Fatty Telegram channel. All the links are in there. Stay away from scammers. As scammers are starting to catch wind of this stuff and it's catching on, I guarantee we're going to see some stuff out there, or they're going to be, it's trying to target us. So be careful, guys.
Absolutely. Let's talk about in more recent Pulsechain news.
You want to show that tweet?
Yeah.
I posted it in Twitter last night, dude. It caught fire. I was like, people were retweeting it, and I was like, man.
It's funny to see the people with no sense of humor and those that have a little.
Yeah, exactly.
So here we are. Richard's just commenting on Peter. I don't know who this Peter dude is, but Peter says, contrary to popular belief, we are not doomed. This is statistically the best time to be alive. And Richard says, perhaps tomorrow is the best. And then a lot of people, including Corey, were speculating that today Pulsechain would launch. So Corey, were you serious about that speculation?
We still have the whole day, bro. Like the day is young here in Arizona. It is 9:19 in Arizona, and I'm going to be watching the GitLab all day today. Will it probably launch today? Probably not. No, they still need to implement Shanghai, which they're doing this week, and they need to, it's probably a few more things they got to unwind in the background. But my prediction is mid-May.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sticking strong with that. I'm sticking strong with mid-May, so I think that could happen. I feel like they are 99.9% done with everything they need to be done with. They don't even need to technically do the Shanghai. They can implement that feature after launch. They don't need to do it before. So like, okay, let's do it before. While we're, why not? I would. It
would be good to test it. Yeah.
I would because it's there. You have the capability of doing it. Why not do it? It's just it's good business practice.
But if it does launch today, it'll be 2:15 Mountain Standard Time PM. So set your clocks. You heard it.
2:15. That's 1:15 my time. Now that's my lunchtime. So I'll have my laptop open.
That's right. Hey, so I think that there's some other cool things that we could talk about. I think one of the best things that we should talk about today is to go back to some of the most important things, talk about wallet setup, how you've structured your wallets, Corey. I think that a lot of people, I'm seeing it a lot on Twitter right now where people, they just They still aren't set up well. They aren't prepped for Pulsechain launch. And so talking about multiple hardware wallets, the ones that you like, all that type of stuff would be really good to nail down strategy there. So let's go ahead and jump into that. And then there's some more things we can touch base on just as the show goes along. But before we do, hey, we appreciate you guys being on. Kaizo's on. Kaizo's blowing up. I think they retweeted one of your tweets that was blowing up. Or no, our show yesterday that blew up. So appreciate your help there. That was great.
Yeah, clipping our show and retweeting it. We had some commentary, mixed commentary about what we're talking about there, and I love it. I love the little bit of the ruffling of the feathers in the community, as long as it's healthy. You know what I mean? And so keep it up, guys. If we can ruffle feathers in a healthy way, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's important to get people to think because everybody starts thinking in one direction.
Oh,
and
follow the narrative.
We've seen it time and time again that the market often does the opposite. I mean, who thought here we would be hex price dropping into mainnet launch? Nobody said that. Nobody. Yeah. So here
Everyone
we are.
said Hex 20 cents, 50 cents. Some people were on Twitter saying Hex a new all-time high. New all-time high, which, man, I would have been a raging fan of that. But I mean, obviously, you know, we're still in a bear market, and you're right, Dane. I everything that happens in crypto, I feel like, or when people expect something, the opposite happens, or you just miss the expectation. And a good example of this, I think the most number one example of this is everyone thought Bitcoin was going to 100K last cycle. Every influencer was preaching it. Everyone on Twitter, I'm talking like everyone and their mom were swearing that Bitcoin was going to 100 grand. Now, Richard Hart didn't, which is really cool. But I mean, 99.9% of the rest of crypto were. And, you know, Bitcoin went up to 69K. It wicked up there. And then, boom, it started to, you know, proceed into a bear market. And so that's just a good example that, you know, your expectations in crypto are not going to be met 99% of the time. I feel like you have to look at the opposite side of the coin. What else could happen, and prepare yourself for that.
Agreed. Well, and to that point, so let's talk about this first, then we'll get into wallets. So yeah. One of the only guys, in fact, let me pull it up. I'll pull up my we talked about your tweet. I had a tweet that I posted last night that had mixed emotions as well.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was. Did you see mine?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I mean,
this one's funny. So it's interesting to talk about. All right. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So this one went pretty good. All right, let me go and share my screen. And I love your guys' commentary in the comments. What do you think about this? In fact, what do you think about all the things we're talking about? We want to make sure we're not stuck in blind spots, only thinking that one thing is going to happen. We want to make sure that we're very aware of how we're managing things. And so if you guys have insights that we're not looking at, or you want to talk about how we're wrong, we'd love to hear that, to be able to just think everything through.
Oh, I did see this. Yes.
So this one's interesting. You know, I said everybody thought Hedron would pump into the Icosa auctions. To be fair, it did. But then we saw, I think it was like the week before, price just dumped. I mean, the full week before, every day dumped.
It didn't pump nearly as hard as the community was anticipating, though. And the community thought it was really going to go, you know, hams into that auction, but it didn't. It did like a 2 or 3x or so. It was very marginal.
Very. Last bull cycle, everybody was calling Hex to $1. A lot of people were saying Hex to 20 cents into the Pulsechain main. Now we haven't gotten to main yet, but it's not looking likely, in my opinion, at this point. And
there's only one exception where it would, and that's if Richard Hart gave us the block height in advance.
Right. And then and K4K has been the one the whole time saying that PulseX could outperform Pulsechain. I feel like the masses have been saying the opposite. You know, you look at a lot of these threads. In fact, I did. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think it's ended yet, so I don't. Oh yeah, right here. So you look at these threads. I've posted them a bunch of times because I want to see where sentiment's at and what the herd is thinking. Every single time, Pulsechain everybody said Pulsechain's going to outperform
I'll post
Pulsechain.
one of these today too, Dane, to see the cross compare. I mean,
yeah, see what yours, because some of the comments
yeah.
here on this on my other tweet were people saying, "Oh no, everybody's saying Pulsex is going to outperform Pulse." I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting if you're getting different information in your feed versus mine. Mine feels very much Pulsechain heavy, which is really
Mine
interesting."
too. No, I mean, from what I'm reading as far as the narrative that's going around on Twitter, and I mean, even our guests that we've had on our shows, our show here, our guests have many times said, "Hey, Pulsechain will outperform Pulsex because it's the layer one." That's the narrative.
Yeah, agreed. So what do you guys think? I'm really curious. I'm really curious what you guys think. Are you going to roll with the herd and say Pulsechain is going to outperform everything like layer ones have in the past, or do you think this time's different? Feel free to comment. That'd be really interesting to see.
Yep.
Fast after lunch, excellent, absolutely. Let's go. Patrice, what's up? Hey, good to have you on. Juan makes an excellent point here. Mid-May crypto dump, Pulsechain launch.
I think it could be perfect.
It'd be perfect. Yeah. Launch at the bottom. Let's see. Paul says, by trying to beat Buck on Pulse, are you going to create the first liquidity pair trying to sell by the sell by wall with Pulse or Pulsex? I'd imagine that'd be the first action. Yeah, certainly. I mean, selfishly, I'm hoping somebody else creates it and I can just use it real quick. But yeah, I mean, I want to try to.
I doubt anyone's going to create it, but the AMM bot will have added a tiny bit of liquidity in there for you to go in there and extract. It should.
Yeah, hopefully there will be a little bit. So we'll see. And in fact, I thought about this. So if you now correct my thinking if I'm wrong here, because if I am, I might not be thinking about this right. But man, like you could. So typically, you want to keep your slippage nice and tight so you don't get wrecked, right, when you're swapping things around. But when it comes to assets right after Pulsechain launch, something like an Fiat or a stable that you know is not going to have value for long, you could ramp your slippage up, sell and drain those freaking pools, right?
It don't matter, right? You could have a 20% slippage because if that's all that's in the pool, you know, you have very little. You're going to have to set your slippage. Otherwise, the transaction will fail.
Right.
Fail. And then someone's going to beat you to the punch.
Right.
So by the time you realize the pool's dry. And I saw this play out on Ethereum proof of work fork. I saw a lot of this play out. It was
you saw the massive volatility, the swings. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real life example of what we're going to see. So I'm glad it happened. That way, it gave me an insight of what's to come. So
right. What's up, Crypto Freedom? What's up, Juan? Good to have you guys on. What's up, Kotso? Nice to see you guys. Perfect. So let's come down here. Lukey says, I'll be picking up as much extra Pulsex of good ratios as single-side staking until the top. Seems like a no-brainer to me. Keep up the good work. Hey, I'm with you. So Pulsex is, for my portfolio, gonna by quite a large margin, since we missed the Pulse sack. It's going to be my largest holding by quite a large margin, and I'm really excited about using the single side staking to be able to build my other positions, wherever those may be, wherever I see opportunity, I can sell off that yield and do whatever it is that I'm going to do with it. So that'll be great. I'm really excited. I'm in the camp that I hope Pulsex outperforms everything. Selfishly, so we will see. This will be the first DEX to outperform the native token. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it plays out. It's hard to bet on like this time being different. You know, it's typically not a good bet to take. In this scenario, it feels like a somewhat reasonable one. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, if it plays out, I'll be happy either way. Yep, I'm with you. Interesting opinion. Most folks who only sack for Pulsex love this narrative.
Now, I'll comment on this. Now, that the narrative that we do see running around where people are talking about Pulsex will outperform Pulse, besides K4K, I think K4K sacked for both. But that narrative is because when people are promoting that is because that's their in the favor of their bags. Typically, it's also probably why we see a lot of people who are promoting Pulse versus PulseX because like I guarantee like probably B Roots, love the guy, right? I do. But he really preaches the narrative of Pulse doing better than PulseX because he probably sacked a lot more for Pulse.
And I
Yeah,
think
a
you
lot
see
of
it
the guys,
with the hex bags too, like if
yeah, a
you
lot of the
have
guys went heavy on Pulse. Now that I'm talking about the OGs. Now there's a lot more sackers in Pulse X, yes, but some of these OGs went heavier in Pulse, and when Pulse X came out, they didn't have the dry powder that they had during Pulse, and so the narratives flip back and forth depending on if it benefits their bag or not.
right, right. No, it's a great point. Contrarian approach pays off most of the time. It's
I agree.
remarkable to watch. It is remarkable to go back and watch a lot of these things, and it's true. Yeah. BTC Maxi's still wearing those stupid laser eyes. It's true. Doug Glover says, nice job with Fiat. Didn't sack for this. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Fair enough. If you're interested, wait for a dip. Never buy something on a green candle.
Red Squirrel's here. What's up, Red Squirrel? Hey man, we're gonna keep working on you until you're willing to come on stream. And I think the people need to hear what you have to offer. I'm telling you, even if you didn't want to show your face, you just wanted to, hide behind the screen and voice over. I think the people would really benefit from
because then you
talking
can
about
explain
strategy.
You can take those strategies and really break it down to some of us peanut brains can understand a little bit better. Because obviously you have all the roadmaps laid out, but some of us are looking at those roadmaps and we get lost.
Yep.
Now Tetra will simplify that because then you can go in there and just pick which Tetra protocol that Red Squirrel built out for you and implement it and see how it performs. But still,
yeah, that'll be fun. What's up, me and Tricks? Nice to see ya. RH never disclosed that there would be another sacrifice before or during the Pulse sack, so OGs went heavy in that one. Right, a lot of them were all sacked out. They went as hard as they could during the Pulsechain sacrifice and didn't have that much left over. So it'll be really interesting. And in fact, on the test nets, we keep seeing the ratio settle where 1 Pulsechain equals 3 PulseX. It'll be fascinating to see if that plays out over time over on mainnet.
Yeah, I bet that's exactly where it settles in the beginning after kind of the dust settles, but then it will change as we're going into the next market cycle and the adoption's happening. You'll see that change.
Yeah, I think that's fair. LOL, maybe one day. Absolutely. Hey, we'll be here with open arms whenever you're ready. Hex bullish. Yeah, I mean, if you believe in Hex and you want to scoop up, where's price at right now? Let me look on my phone here really quick. Roughly 5.5 cents. If you want to scoop up these levels, I mean, we're essentially, what are we? A little less.
Let me show you this. What I'm looking
3x away from the bottom right now, or the recent bottom.
Let me show you my screen real quick.
2 cents.
I'm no TA guru by any stretch. Can you see my screen?
Yep, we got it.
But we've been in this channel here since the blow off top we just had, the local blow off top back in March 25th, and we just been ranging. This has been support, this has been resistance, but look at this. We've ranged down off of the resistance this time around. This is on the daily, by the way, and like I said, I'm no TA guy, but I do have a basic understanding. And we bounced off the support again here, came back up, but we're making lower lows now inside this channel. We're no longer testing the upper resistance, and so we're hitting the support again, and we're kind of breaking through it. We broke through it yesterday, but we pushed back up, and so I'm thinking if we break under the support here, this becomes resistance, then we really can end up landing here on the 200-day moving average, which is around right now the 4.5 cent range. And so this is what I'm anticipating. I could be totally wrong. And Sprock Burger, if you're in the chat, I don't know if you're in the chat, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. He's a TA guy that comes in. In fact, we're going to have him on the show coming up here soon. And I would say unless there's some news from Richard or some kind of I don't know, catch wind of the block height, obviously Pulsechain would change this whole TA analysis. but I think we're going to head under this. And Axis Alive kind of talked about this too in his group. And so I could anticipate seeing some lower price action on Hex. Not that this is a great price. This is an amazing price, guys, because we're over half off what the local blow off top was. We hit up a 13-cent range, and then we started pushing downward. So it'll be interesting to see, depending how long. But even if we go out to mid-May, we'll say launches in mid-May. Richard does a stealth launch. I definitely can see Hex hitting this 200-day moving average if we go out to mid-May and we get a stealth launch. So we could see some more downward action. This is my peanut brain doing analysis right here.
I like it.
I'm trying to track it because I got an LP position open. I got a pretty strong LP position. I'm thinking about shifting the LP more to the downward side of the spectrum so I can collect those fees and accumulate more Hex, honestly, using the LP position to DCA my way down into, for me personally, I like to pick up at least one more bag before we see this, before we see launch. I would like to have one more bag picked up. And if not, I'm in good position. I have my bags packed. But you never have more. Right? You never have enough. It's like, man, if I can get one more, like I'll be happy. It's like when you're in love with an asset, you're in love with it. It's hard to you just never get enough.
My wife asked me the other night, she's like, "Don't you have enough crypto?" And I'm like, there's no such thing.
I know. I closed on one of my rental properties, and I got the check in the mail the end of last week. And my wife's like, "Well, what are we doing with that?" I said, "Babe, what do you think we're doing?"
Why'd you even ask? You know exactly where it's going.
Like, jeez, it goes right into crypto. Oh man, my God. It's so much fun.
Oh, so fun. Might be time to buy Hex now. Every time frame indicator on our Aurochs shows a red sell signal. Interesting.
I agree. I mean, you could DCA your way down right now, starting now. If we anticipate the 4.5 cent and we're at 5.5 cent, if you did a DCA for all the way down in between, you'd be an average of 4.75 or whatever. It's a good time to buy Hex. I agree with that because, like I said, we're over 50% off from our local blow off top. So. Yeah.
Okay, Crypto says, I'm bullish on Hex too, but I don't see it having the same X's as Pulse or PulseX will have this next bull run.
I don't either. Although if you talk to Johnny Chaos, he thinks it's the opposite. But I'm with you on that, K Crypto. But once again, what if we're wrong?
There's enough people saying that they're going to go and swap their Pulse and their PulseX for Hex once Pulsechain launches. There's enough of them saying that I want to play all three because we just don't know. And it would suck to sleep on one of them and that one be the best and you missed out.
Yeah, what if Hex doesn't hit 1,000x from this local bottom? The local bottom, guys, was 0.017. That's where we'd have to count it from. We can't count it from today, 0.056. It'd be the 0.017. What does 1,000x from that even look like? $170?
No, I think that's only 17 cents, isn't it?
Not 17, 1,000x. 17 cents? No. That would be a 10x.
No, so you move the decimal points twice for...
Where's my...
Oh, geez. Here's our brains.
Yeah, I know.
Right? I'm doing math this morning. Yeah,
it's $17.
Oh, yeah, you're right. $17.
If we did $170, that'd be a 10,000x.
What did I say? 17
cents.
Oh, yeah, not 17 cents. You're correct.
Which I like 17 cents, but it's not going to give us the $17 per Hex.
That's right. Big brains, LOL. Hey man, we know where the wave's at. We're just trying to tag along.
You guys got to understand, we come from the real estate space. You don't have to have a lot of brains to make money in real estate.
That's right.
You just got to have grit.
Paul, $1.70 would be 100x. Hey man, some of the stuff I watched the stream that Crispy Man was on. Crispy Man's been on our show. Shout out to Crispy Man. He makes some of the best data trackers for stuff in the Richard Hart ecosystem. One of the charts he was showing, man, had $50 Hex in 2026, which which was interesting. I'm really curious to see it all play out.
Access
It'll be
Alive is
interesting.
just as bullish too.
Yeah.
He's got the
Yeah.
chart that shows the following the Bitcoin pricing, and it's the same. And
Kareem and Wells Only are in the same camp too. $8,000 hex, man.
well, yeah, they're $8,000 hex by
Come on, man.
2026.
Oh man.
uh,
Moon math to the max. Love it. Yeah. $17 sounds good. That would be
that
wild.
I
It'd be
would. Oh
wild.
my god, I would be over.
You could
Like
retire 10
I,
times over
I
if
don't even
we
need
get
my
that.
Pulse X and Pulse bags. I mean, I'll take my Pulse X and Pulse bags, but like, I've been accumulating hex this whole bear market, so like, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. This is a good question. Where do you guys think Pulse and Pulse X launch? How many X's from the SAC prices? I think both minimum 10X. Why do you think that? I'm really curious. I think this is a fascinating conversation. Why do you think they launch a minimum of a 10X? So I see a lot of people on Twitter and they're like, oh, it's almost like sentiment is Richard owes us for waiting this long, and so he's going to launch it higher and
No,
higher the longer we
no.
wait. And I'm not saying that you, Kaiza, if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm not saying that's you, but I feel like that's a lot of sentiment that at least that I'm seeing. And I mean, so if you're Richard Hart, you want the best performing price charts to point to, period, end of the day. And so I think you have to ask yourself the question, well, how do you get those price charts? Well, the way that you get them, at least looking at the hex price chart, is you get a nice big dip right out of the gates. And it takes, at least hex about 30 days to be able to get that big juicy dip and then back off to the races from there. So, could he launch it at 10x? I mean, sure. If you go and you look at other layer one blockchain launches, their ICO prices, some of them launch below. Like theoretically, some of them, yeah. I mean, if you look at that data, some of them launch below the ICO price, which is interesting. Are you selling then? I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are, they're at 50% of their SAC value. They're like, oh, I was going to sell, but not anymore. So, how do you want to incentivize the people? What do you want them to do? What do you want the price chart to look like initially? I think there's a good chance that we see, anywhere from a 2x to a 10x. I think you probably see, a higher multiple on Pulsechain than you do on PulseX as far as launch price or value. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me that much if you saw that 1-to-3 ratio. That seems to be where the market keeps settling. If you saw that on launch price, maybe like a 10x on Pulsechain and a 3x on PulseX, something like that. But I don't know. It's all speculation. What do you think, Corey?
I think anywhere over a 5x, he is going to risk the massive dumping to happen in, from some of these larger players too, who are really mad at Richard. I'm in one chat that I like to get in these chats just to kind of peer in and see what people are saying. And there's one where they're OG Hexicans, and there's some Hexicans in there that sacked big for Pulse, and they hate RH now, and they want to rage dump their bags. I know it's the stupidest thing you'd ever think of. Like, why would you rage dump your bag to hurt Richard Hart? You're hurting yourself.
Shoot yourself in the feet and then say,
you're
look
hurting
at
yourself.
Richard, doesn't this hurt?
And Richard Hart don't give two shits if you rage dump your $1 million sack. They don't care. He don't care. He does not care. He does not care. But there are people in the community like that, and I feel like anything over a 5x, and that's going to happen. You're going to see David had mentioned yesterday, Rackham. I can't stand the guy myself. I hope he does rage dump, and I hope he exits the system. And I'm there with open arms, with my bags open. You catch everything he's dumping. But you're going to see that, I believe, on a 5x or above. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a 10x above. I don't know. But there is a threshold where you get to a point where if you set it too high, you're going to encourage the whole community to dump.
Right.
There's some threat. I don't know where that threshold's at. I'm not smart enough for that.
Well, and there's a lot of people, I think a lot. So here's a few different factors that I think are really interesting to consider. people look at the hex price chart and they say, oh, Pulsechain and PulseX could do that too. Well, I'm not saying they can't. It's certainly within the realm of possibilities, but you have to consider you lock up your hex. So even if you wanted to sell and you were locked up, well, you could early end stake at the risk of losing a bunch of your position, but otherwise you're kind of stuck in that position until you finish it, or you want to early end stake later so you get less penalties. And so there's just less supply available to be able to dump. That is not going to happen with Pulsechain and PulseX. People can go and sell whenever they want. You can't save yourself, if you will, via a long-term stake, unless it sounds like you're implementing some of Matty Allen's stuff, if you want to look into that. And there's a lot. I mean, we've talked to some of these bigger guys, these OG hexagons. They got stuck with their shorts down this last top. All of their stuff was staked. They couldn't take any profits. They were sitting on millions of dollars and they couldn't do anything about it. Well, once again, they could, but they didn't want to early end stake. And so they felt like their hands were...
Some did early end stake, but
yeah. And they felt like their hands were tied. I think a lot of them are looking at Pulsechain and PulseX as the mistress that they could use and abuse and take profits from early and get out of. Yeah. And so, I think it'll be really interesting. The one caveat that I would put to that plan, Richard has almost $2 billion in sacrifice money that's not the OA money that he can go use to make markets and move markets. Once again, Richard called a 10,000x from the beginning, and it magically did that practically to the dot. Yeah, to the T. That doesn't happen on accident. That doesn't happen from normal market conditions, buyers and sellers magically getting it there. That doesn't happen on accident. And that's a good thing. Like, that's a beautiful thing you have. Yes. So if you believe that the OA is going to support Pulsechain and PulseX like it will Hex, I
well, then to your point, also
a better place to be.
To your point, also, if that is the story that plays out over the long run here, then I think back to your point, I think then the OA or the market maker or whoever it may be will allow that initial dip in the price chart. He'll allow those red candles because, once again, if he wants to brag about the 10,000x or even the 1,000x or whatever maybe he's bragging about, it's easier to do from the lowest point on the price chart if you have some red candles.
Agreed. Can you imagine? Now, this is pure speculation. We don't know who the OA is, but can you imagine if the Greg the Duck?
Yeah, it's a duck. You didn't know?
Hey, man, if it's Richard, and Richard is the OA, and he's been making the markets perfectly to get Hex to go do a 10,000x in a year and a half. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be to go on these streams with these other idiots and they're like, but it has the OA. Like, what if the OA is going to screw everybody? And you're thinking in your head, I'm the OA and look what I've done. Look what I've done for everybody. Oh, it'd be so infuriating. Gosh. Once again, pure speculation.
Agreed.
Yeah, pure speculation. They didn't understand no expectations part of sacrificing.
No expectations.
Hey, man, to be fair, and Sami, in fact, I've been thinking about this a lot over the last couple of days. I think it was Kaiza that had posted a video of Sami's that I hadn't watched. And he talked about how, you build, theoretically, you can build long-term holders and manipulate their behavior to help them do things that are better for them by having them hold for a long time. And I'm curious, you guys posted in the chat, if Richard would have come out from the jump and said, hey, sacrifice is open, you got to wait 2 years, though, for this to launch, would you have sacrificed still? Would you have done as much? I mean, knowing what I know now, I would go back and I would do it the same. I went as heavy as I possibly could have in PulseX at the time. I would do it the same. But with the knowledge that I had up to that point, I don't know. I don't think I would have participated. Certainly not to the extent that I would have. And I would have said in my head, well, I can go make more money on my money while I wait, and then I'll go buy it when it launches.
Correct.
You know what I mean? That's what I would have done.
And
So,
there's some truth to that. You could have made a lot more money on your money, even in crypto, and then use those gains, whatever multiplied by what you made, to go buy Pulse and PulseX on launch.
but would you have? I don't see a lot of things over the last couple of years where I'm like, I would have made a lot of money on this money. I see plenty of things where I could have lost more money.
Yeah, I mean, the one protocol that comes top of mind that's been up through all this bear market and it's done really well is GMX.
Right.
But obviously, I didn't know about GMX back then. But like, if you would have just parked your money in GMX this whole time, I think you'd be.
There's lots of places that you could have.
You
But
could
would
have,
you
yeah.
have? That's the question.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. 10x, as you guys mentioned yesterday, some wells will de-risk to get out their principal. I agree. I hope they do, and I hope they do it early. I would love the opportunity to load up some more.
I know, me too.
What's your X prediction? 2 to 4 weeks on Pulse. Yeah, what do you think, Corey?
It depends on if we initial dip right out of the gate, or if we. I think in the 2 to 4 week range, that's when we can see that dip.
Agreed.
That's when we can see the I think out of the gate, we'll see a lot of FOMO and hard price action going up to the right. And then we're going to see some kind of blow off top, and then it will go. And then that's when we're going to see the dip. And I feel like it's somewhere in between the 2 to 4 week range. I know you did some data analysis on that, Dane, on all the layer one blockchains. They can go all the way up to 90 days, 3 months. So my DCA strategy, the way I have it built out, is over a 3-month time period. And so that way I'm going to have some money on the sidelines to participate if we see that dip. Because, man, Dane, you talk about this all the time. The people with the most patience in crypto are the ones going to get the most rewarded, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just, sitting on your hands, not buying green candles, buying only what's on sale, and let price come to you is very, very important.
And I feel proud about. I've been trying really hard to like change my mindset to make better decisions for me, and to like have my emotions feel like the right thing to do instead of feeling like the wrong thing to do. And so it was really interesting to watch the Zen pump. In my brain, I'm automatically was like, oh, don't buy that though. Like, we know how this goes. I've bought tops before. There will be a nice correction, and so don't buy this. And a lot of people were swapping their Hex for it. Hex is
oh
no.
Yeah, that channel I was showing you from Hex going that channel is being created by people swapping Hex for Zen. Stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
That's being created from.
So my emotions were in it too. Like, it felt, I knew how to act with this one, which was really cool. And I'm telling you, man, there's a couple of chats. I'm in one where there's a relatively big influencer that was pushing that. Go sell your Hex for Zen. Zen's the new thing. This is going to be better than what Richard Hart is building. You have a freaking OA that made a price chart do a 10,000x in a year and a half. I just like, no. If you want to go bet elsewhere, we talked about this yesterday on the stream. If you want to go bet elsewhere, by all means. But gosh, don't stray too far from the tree. In my opinion, I certainly won't.
Swami did a great video yesterday where you have your portfolio built out 90% core and 10% lottery ticket.
I like that a lot.
Then is part of your 10% lottery ticket. And that's about how my portfolio is built up, except for I have one protocol I probably went a little too heavy on. I don't want to talk about that one yet. We will as time unfolds. But Zen, I have a very small piece of my portfolio that I spent money on minting. It's spending gas. So I never bought Zen. I've never purchased Zen not one time on the open market.
Right.
Nor do I plan on anywhere in the short term. But to just a mint, I allocated a very small piece of my portfolio to be able to go in there and play that lottery ticket, because I feel like that's exactly what it is for me. Where my core, I know where my core is at. And like you said, Dane, why would you stray away when you have a market maker as strong as we got in our ecosystem? I mean, look back at when before we capitulated. We sat in the 3 cent range for months like a stable coin. Why is that? It's because we have a market maker. That's why we have a market maker in our ecosystem that allows to do that. And he slowly allowed, and if you saw that when the 4 horsemen were all selling down, he allowed that to happen. He allowed them to capitulate down into the 1.7 cent range. And then you saw it when they were out of money, it start to pick back up again. And then the community caught on and it took off like a freaking rocket ship after the community caught on. That was the market maker, guys, doing that whole play. And so you're not going to see that in Zen. You will have some whales in there. I feel like there'll be some whales who own Zen, but Jack Levin, I mean, I don't think he has any kind of intention of creating a market maker or doing an OA type strategy. And I don't think there is any of that in there.
Well, no, it's the fair launch thing.
That's that's right. It's the fair crypto launch. Yeah. That's part of the narrative on how they convince people to sell their hex for Zen.
Yeah. Hey, by all means, if you want to sell, man, feel free.
It cracks me up, man.
Yeah. Let them rage dump. Many of us smaller bags will buy it up. Hey, man, we're waiting with open arms. Please sell your bags. I would love the opportunity to pick some more up. We've been saving, man. Corey and I, we've been building bags. We've been saving. We are ready for dips.
Yes.
We are ready.
Yes.
I know there were many people who buy the hell out of both assets when Pulse and Pulsechain are close to the SAC price. So I think the buy pressure will be much greater than the sell pressure. Certainly at those levels. I agree completely. And if you look at, a lot of people are comparing Pulsechain to Ethereum. I don't think that's necessarily a really fair comp because there are really only 2 games to play at that point. There's Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's some other stuff, but they're just, Ethereum was.
Oh, you mean when it launched?
Yeah,
you can't compare it
in town other than Bitcoin.
This is a different market now.
There's so many other layer ones. There's so many other shiny objects, but I do think that the launch could be very similar, where it launched at a multiple like a 10x of ICO price, and then it went and it dipped. It didn't get down to ICO price, but it got within a few multiples of it, and then that was the bottom, and off we go. I could see that playing out with Pulse. And I could see Pulsechain dipping back down to the SAC price, maybe even wicking down a little bit below. It'll be really interesting to see how people decide to play the game.
Yep.
Baby ragers. What a bunch of babies. That's the truth.
Crypto's full of it, man. I don't understand what it is about this asset class. We have like the greatest asset class known to man, the highest appreciating asset class known to man, but we have the biggest crybabies and emotional. Like it's a crazy niche to be involved in, man.
Well, so here's a comp that I was thinking about of the other night. So I love the NBA. I'm watching basketball every night. If I could watch basketball every night, that's me living my best life.
Nice.
So, I'm watching the playoffs last night, and there was a highlight that came on, or maybe I was watching some highlights after on my phone, and it was interesting. So the Kings and the Warriors, the series has been tight and very emotional. With guys like Draymond Green, it's going to be very emotional. After the game is done, a big fight breaks out in the stands where the Kings and Warriors fans are fighting each other. And I thought human behavior is fascinating, because even though not a single one of those people in the stadium was playing in the game, they felt the emotions like they were playing.
Right.
And the ones that won felt the euphoria, and the ones that lost felt downtrodden, and a fight breaks out. And crypto's the same, man. Like we feel like we're on certain teams, and everyone gets emotionally invested. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing as long as you're emotionally invested in the right places and you have some fortitude. And so like we see it play out here. And so, the guys that, nobody wanted to wait 2 years. I get it. We certainly didn't, like it hurts to think about waiting and waiting and waiting. And so, like I get it, but also, whose team are you on and where do you want to place your bets? Nothing has changed with Richard Hart. Nothing has changed with the OA. Nothing has changed with Richard's ability to market and who the smartest people are in the community. Nothing has changed. But a lot of people have. And so, do you want to go bet elsewhere? by all means, if you want to go play elsewhere, be my guest. But we know where we stand.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me 2 cent hex. Yes, please. I would
Oh
welcome
my
that
God! If we got
opportunity.
there again, I don't know if we will get there again. It's always possible. You could see a capitulation candle down there again. I mean, it's possible, but man, I would load up again. I loaded up last time we were there, and
Yeah,
so I would do it again.
I would too. I would too. Well, so would you after Pulsechain launch, if eHex gets to 2 cents, you loading back up, or are you taking a pause there?
I'm probably taking.
Pausing.
I'm pausing because I want to use that economic energy for holding for Pulsechain and Pulse X. I have a very strict DCA strategy on for Pulsechain, and for me to stick to that strategy, I've got basically almost 100% of my dry powder allocated for that DCA strategy.
Agreed.
So if I go in there and I start buying other assets and I get shiny odds, that'd be a bit of a shiny object syndrome off of my Pulse DCA strategy to go then and buy cheap EHEX. Now, if EHEX really, like, let's say it went down to fractions of a penny,
that's where I would start to get
I would have
interested
to
in
probably
EHEX
step
again.
in with some money and pick up a bag.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up, Gen Hex? Great to have you on. What's up, Money Gang? If you guys aren't following Money Gang, he has some money content, so
Yeah,
go
he
check
does.
him out. He's
And
great.
he's got some good guests on his show too, man. It's been fire.
Absolutely. Have we seen testnet numbers? Oh man, they are stupid. Testnet numbers are
If we're
stupid.
even a fraction of that, Money Gang Crypto,
it's crazy. Now here's one of the things that I've been thinking of. I'm telling you, the more that we see the numbers on those yield farms, the more I'm like, I really would like a piece of the action there. And so in fact, you and I will have to talk off. Well, in fact, maybe we'll bring it. Maybe you and I will have to talk off stream, but we could talk more specific about, because you and I, both of our strategies have changed a little bit for launch. It would be interesting to rehash that and go back through later this week or next week. So tune into that, guys. That'll be a fun show.
Yeah, it'll be a fun show.
Yeah. Testnet numbers are stupid though. You can go and mint as much free T-Dai as you want, which is the stable coin on Tesla. So you could go mint $10 million of T-Dai and then dump it everywhere. So price just goes parabolic.
Buy up the price of everything.
It's nuts. Yeah. Yeah. Enjoying those fairy tale numbers, man. Everybody loves a little moon math. We're with you there. It's fun to
well, the beautiful thing is we're in crypto, so a lot of those fairy tale numbers should come to fruition one day.
Yeah, it's interesting. Great dialogue here. Thanks for looking at all the possibilities. Absolutely. Thanks for being here. Hey, this is a really well-attended show. We appreciate you guys being here.
And we never want to be the full one-way narrative type guys. We always want to look at both sides of the coin. There's always another story to be told. And we want to make sure, like you had said earlier, Dane, that we don't want to be caught in a blind spot because the community was following one narrative. And we gotta be careful of that because that is how you get wrecked. So
and I'm telling you guys, I think so many people want to point to like one strategy. The fact of the matter is, and we did this with real estate too, if you have one strategy and that's the only strategy that you're executing, you can get left with your pants down pretty easily. One of the groups that I'm in, and I like the guy. I'm not going to say his name here, but the leader of the group, I like the guy quite a bit. And the play there the whole time has been to buy Hex, stack Hex, and then when mainnet opens, then you could swap your Hex for assets over on Pulsechain.
Pre-bridge or post-bridge?
Pre-bridge, like immediately. You can go dump
Horrible.
I agree. I agree. I have not been a big advocate of that plan, but it's not my group. It's not my place, And so, it's interesting. It's important to gain perspective of see what other people are thinking and act. Do your own thinking. Do your own research. So that was like the play. That has been the strategy the whole time for like a year. And you have a lot of newer people that don't know any better that are getting in there. They're executing this one strategy, and then all of a sudden, he flips and loves Zen now and sold his Hex bags to go buy Zen. And it leaves most of the people in the group, a lot of them are underwater on their Hex right now. Yeah. They're buying at 7-8 cents and they're all cashed out. They don't have any more money. And they're like, well, where does this leave me? And frankly, it leaves you in a bad spot. It really does.
Yeah, you just
In the
direct the
short
whole
term.
audience.
It leaves you in a bad spot short term. And so I was trying to provide some clarity in the group, and I'm like, look, you know, I think this is a fine play. Still, I think it's a fine play. Other than adjusting, you're swapping everything over on Pulsechain. I think that it's probably going to be a lot more valuable to be patient there, let liquidity build, let the hex people come in, buy the hex price up. You might
100%.
get a lot better rate if you're more patient, if you do your swap there. But I'm like, look, if you have just one strategy, you're typically going to be left holding the bag, and it's important to have
You
a
said that in
few
the
different
private group?
outcomes that you're all right with and playing your chips accordingly.
You said that in the private group?
Yeah, man, like come
He
on.
didn't call you out or none?
I felt like I was pretty strategic about it. Once again, I like the guy. I think for the
Yeah.
most part, he's right about a lot of things. I think he missed on this one by a massive margin. But I tried to just provide a little bit of
He
clarity there on
capitulated.
my thoughts, and once again, I don't want to talk bad about anybody. Corey and I are not those guys that are looking to stir it up on Twitter and create
No,
drama.
a
We're
little
not
healthy
those guys.
debate is good. Like I see you do
Yeah,
that once in a while, which is nice, just to get people thinking the other way. It's all it does.
yeah.
But to go in there and fight like your NBA game is not the way to do it.
Nah, we're not those guys. No. Yeah. Someone made a great point in one of his latest videos. Richard made us suffer during the last 2 years, so we value our coins much more when we get the
Sure.
airdrop.
Sure.
Absolutely. That was the video that Kaiza had posted on one of my tweets. So thank you for sharing that. That was a great video. More people should check out Sami's giving up so much excellent free alpha. Hey man, I don't think Sami misses often. There's a few things that I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily agree here, but I don't think he misses often. If you're not watching Sami's content, I'd heavily recommend it.
Yes.
Yep. RH probably saved many people from getting washed out since the SAG took place at the peak.
I agree.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
PLSX will take some time, but anything is possible. I agree. I think that Pulsechain is going to take a little bit of time, really ramp up, really get some volume. I think a lot of people think we're going to have Uniswap volume out of the gate, and the buy and burn is going to be just insane. Hey, like, I don't think it works out that way. Once again, Corey said it multiple times, we're still in the bear market. Like, give this time, hold till 2025. Well, not financial advice. Corey and I are planning on holding till 2025. In our humble opinion, that will be the time to take profits. And so, you do what you will with your bag, but be patient with this. A lot of people are thinking that overnight they're going to get rich. We would love that. We hope that it goes and does 100x in 100 days, but don't be disappointed if it doesn't do that, because it could take some time, certainly. Can't wait for the dip. Hey, man, I'm praying. Please give us a nice big dip. Buy the dips, absolutely. Nothing is by accident. Richard knew what he was doing for sure. I'm glad he didn't launch Pulsechain a year ago. Hey, I agree. Yes. If he would have launched it a year ago, I think that could have been catastrophic.
It would have been brutal, man. Right in the middle of that bear market. I mean, we were like not bear. It was like that was our downward slope, like steep downward slope of just liquidity leaving the marketplace.
Yeah. Glenn, I don't think this is real likely. If liquidity sits where it currently is, it's thick between
it could
the
with a big enough sell order. It would have to be a big sell order.
You need a very big sell order. So it could. I personally don't think it's real likely though. Yeah, Zen is a minting game. Absolutely. Be nice to get a 10K from Zen minting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you're a minter, like you're in profit. You're in profit.
I got one coming due on the 28th, and it's the end of this week. I minted it, many months back, and I did the full VMU 128 VMUs, and I think it's worth like 6K, dude.
I had a couple. I had a couple of Zen Turings that I minted short term. They came out right before the big pump. And I was like, man, F these things. And I swapped them for USDC, and then it went. And I was like, come on, man. Come on.
Oh, you could have made a quick 3-5x or whatever. Maybe 10x.
It's all good. Hex MM has 90% OA, correct. Yep.
And one play you could do with Zen, Dane, is I'm following the protocols in the ecosystem. Not like I follow the Richard Hart ecosystem, but I want to know what's going on. You can just wait for like when like Phoenix is launching the end of this month. You can wait for these like layer twos, if you will, that use Zen to launch and use the narrative. You know, that's when you sell. You follow those protocols, so that way that's when you take liquidity out.
Yeah. And that's part of your 10% degen bag, right? Where
part of your 10% degen bag.
And before we leave that topic, I'm telling you guys, I think that was one of the best videos that I've seen in a long time, because man, the example that he gives is like, if you have your core, right? You have your core and it goes and does like a 50x over a couple of years, and you're hanging out in your core. And then one of your buddies that knows nothing about crypto, they end up in some meme coin and does a 50x in like a month. How will you feel if you were not prepared mentally and emotionally? And how many people would take their bag and say like, oh, I screwed this up, I did it wrong, sell their bag for the stupid meme, buy the top, and lose all their value? Like, I think there's a lot of people that will do that if they're not prepared. And that's where you can scratch that itch. You have a 10%, 5%, whatever percentage you think is good for you. You can go play the game and dink around and have fun and keep your core, so that theoretically you're trying to manage risk well.
100%.
Emotional damage. Shame Dane is a Utah fan. Hey man, we're holding strong for the glory days. Those glory days are gonna come back in the next 5 years. Danny at the helm. It's gonna be a lot of fun. If Richard Hart dies, it goes to zero. Watch out, everyone. Hey, I wouldn't say zero, but that would have a big impact, I think. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Best NBA fight was when Ron Artest jumped in. That was the wildest fight I've ever seen. I remember it clear as day. I was at my buddy's house. We were watching ESPN. Highlights flipped on. We go over to the game, and that was wild. That was wild. We need human emotions in order to capitalize tremendously in any asset class, just like Aria.
That is very true. Hit the nail on the head right there.
Absolutely. Gosh, you guys are just blowing up these comments. This is great. Seriously, appreciate all you guys, all your comments today. It really drives the show forward. We like to talk about what you guys want to talk about. So why we do this. So this has been a blast. LOL 9-inch IO Pancake Swap Fork just got announced. Oh, interesting. Where's it going to be launching at? I'm not familiar with this one. Have you heard about this, Corey?
No, 9-inch. No.
Yeah, no. Interesting.
Who's building it? What's the protocol's name? Just I like to know what's going on.
Get ready for eggplant memes.
Yeah,
right. For sure. I didn't claim Fiat. It was airdropped in wallet. You have to go claim it though. So it's yours to claim. It's not just airdropped into your wallet. You have to go connect your wallet to Fatty, go to the checker, and then claim it there. It's not just.
You spend a little bit of gas.
If coins that you thought were Fiat just magically ended up in your wallet because you thought they were airdropped, they're a scam. I'd heavily recommend, if you still have your assets, moving them to a new wallet immediately, like now. If you still have them, move them to a new wallet. That wallet's done, and I hope you didn't lose your assets. Oof.
Yeah, and by the way, that if you got airdrop that Fiat, don't move that Fiat before moving your other all your other assets out. Alone. Leave that Fiat there. That's the scam stuff. By you moving it out, you could end up signing a contract to drain your wallet. You got to be careful with that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good to have an open mind and ready for all situations. Absolutely. Hex is probably not the best transfer of value to Pulsechain for short-term ratio trading unless you want to hold Hex long-term. Agreed.
Correct.
Oh, everybody's been saying get your Hex. I think that was a great idea when everybody thought it was going to launch in a few weeks after Pulsechain sack. That is not the play in our opinion. You got to stop following Crypto RS. He'll have you buying Solana and Pepe meme coins. Hey, if somebody can get us into the Pepes earlier, we'd love that opportunity.
Yeah, I know. The freaking 20,000X or something stupid. I don't know what
stupid. And then I loved BitBoy. He's like, oh, I got into Pepe. And then today he was like, oh, this is what it feels like to buy a meme and have it drop 50% in a day. Yeah.
Your exit liquidity buying right now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now's not the time. Red Squirrel, give me some of your PLS. I read an interesting Twitter that if RH launches PLS in mid-May, he will be forever tied to a meme, which he probably wouldn't like to let that happen, so he chooses another month. I disagree. I think Richard loves that stuff. He'll even say he'll be like streaming and he's like, oh, make sure you guys meme this, and he'll like pose and do different things. He was twerking. Like, I think he gets a kick out of that. Frankly, I think he'd get a kick out of jumping on streams and saying like, I told you guys mid-May. I think he would. I think
he would too, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Red Squirrel isn't getting rid of his bags. 1-to-1 on Tetra. Let's go. That's good. Does staking on Phoenix interest you guys or not?
So I'll tell you my thought process around the Zen ecosystem. Everything that is going to be built on top of Zen is only there for one purpose, is to burn Zen and to basically make Zen more valuable. So these protocols being built will have their time in the sun and they will shine for a moment in time. But if you want long-term trying to make some money in Zen, I would say hold Zen, use the protocols as buy the rumor, sell the news. And that's what I'll be doing as I'm doing my little DGM play in Zen, is that like when Phoenix launches, I have that pretty good size Zentorian coming out on the 28th. That's about when Phoenix launched. I think Phoenix launches in the second week of May. And I will use the buy the rumor, sell the news to maybe instead of 5K I get out of that thing, maybe I sell it for 15K. And then what I'll do is that I'll take that 15K and I'll allocate some of that to mint more Zen in the future, right? So I'll mint like maybe 3 or 4 more Zentorians. And then the rest of that money, well, guess where it goes, guys? In the Pulsechain.
Right.
Boom. And so that's the play I'll be doing. I think if you want to stake a little bit in the Phoenix, sure. I mean, I'm sure it's going to have, like I said, it will have its time in the sun. It will do well for a little while, but then like a lot of the guys who are hardcore Zenians, if you call them, like the guys who were almost like Zen maxis, they believe that everything built on Zen is to take away your valuable coins. Like you should hold on to Zen with your life and not be burning them for all these stupid protocols being built on top of the asset. And so these are how these Zen maxis are thinking. And there's probably something to that if you want to play the game a little bit. And so for me, I'm going to be playing the game as using it by the rumor, sell the news. Instead of, maybe I can make a 5X or a 10X off of my mint versus maybe a 2 or 3X. Who knows? So,
yeah.
My thought.
And I agree with Corey. Yeah, my plan is to mint more Zen to be able to either burn it for X1 if X1 ever comes out, or just to
I'll burn it for X1. That's the only thing. But as far as like using Phoenix is almost an exact copy also of Hex. So you'd be using it as a store of value. Like
we've seen how those have gone.
Yeah, my store of value coin, guys, is Hex. Like I'm parking money in Hex. I got my HSI stakes. I got my, that's my store of value. Phoenix, them being trying to copy Hex. I mean, I'm sure they'll do fine because they got the Zen community. And the Zen community, there's something to be said about that. Is that community is making everything in crypto, hands down. And that's why Hexicans are so awesome. That's why our community is like the best. But man, the Zen community, guys, is creeping up. It has a massive community. It's got a cult-like following now. They have turned into a cult with Jack Levin being their leader, just how we are with RH. And I say that in a good way, and I'll say in a bad way. You need a cult-like following in any crypto community to be successful. Shiba Inu had a cult-like following in its early days. That's what took Shiba Inu to the moon. Ask B Roots. He talks about it. It had a cult-like following. It was very hardcore. Bitcoin is a cult. I don't care what anyone says. Watch my friend Sami video about that. He does a whole video on how Bitcoin had this cult-like following, and it still is, and that's why he did a 6.5 million X. We have it, which I love. I love my cult family. You guys are the best. But Zen is creating the same, and you can see that. And so don't, for me to play in my little DGen 10% trading, bag, it's fun to play over in that community because they have that cult-like following, and that's why you do see the price chart doing a 10x when the DB Zen launched. That's where that came from. It came from the DB Zen
Yeah, they're
FOMO.
burning it and buying it to get
FOMO.
more DBs in. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll see it again with Phoenix launches, and there's going to keep being these new protocols built on Zen, and play over there, make some gains, and bring it over to our community. Buck Phiat called it perfectly. So Jack Levin vampired us by taking our community and bringing it over to Zen. He converted some of them, unfortunately, to be all Zenians, like your guy you're talking about, which is unfortunate. But there are some of us, including Buck, we're going to vampire the vampire. We're going to take some of that economic energy out of their ecosystem and bring it right back over to Pulsechain. I love that. And that's what I'll be doing with a lot of my economic energy that I make over there. If we see 1,000x in Zen, can you imagine, guys? I would push the sell button so fast, and that money's coming over to Pulsechain so fast, it's not even funny. It's going to get stored in Hex. It's going to get stored in our ecosystem, right? And so that's what I'll be using it for. It's kind of like back in the early days when you heard about the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin guys will go out and play the altcoins, sell that, take that economic energy and bring it back into Bitcoin. It's the same thing
Still a lot of them doing that.
we're doing. We're going to go out there and play this little game that everyone's got going on, make our 10x's, make our 5x's. Well, that money's coming back into Pulsechain, in the ecosystem. We're going to vampire the vampire.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, Hexy Bastard was talking about, he was tweeting that there was something cool coming out today. I'll have to go do some more digging on this. 9 inches on ETH and Pulsechain. Hexy Bastard, original Pulse Doge team, the one with the RH dog memes.
Yep, I know
Cool.
those guys.
Okay.
It's interesting.
I'll have to go look at that. Interesting.
I bet the EP tokens me pumping today.
Yeah, if it's not already. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a very small position.
Yeah.
How about a tiny.
In Sami terms, you put one bullet in there.
Yeah, I literally, I don't even know if I put a full bullet in. I put it like 1/8 of a bullet.
Sure. $35 to approve spending Pulsechain. Hey, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I find that I'm feeling less and less inclined to want to do a lot on Ethereum. It's just so expensive, and it's only going to get worse.
Agreed, 100%.
Let's talk about X's. Where do you guys see Pulse and Pulsex at the top of the next bull?
Now, here's a great conversation. Not this whole 1 month, 3 month. Like, why do you care what it does in 90 days? Like, you taking profits in 90 days? This is good.
Yeah, what do you think, Corey?
I think that Pulsechain will do what Ethereum did in its first market cycle.
What is that?
It's
So
about I think it was about a 1,500x.
Yeah.
If I'm not, I think it was somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000. I know it wasn't over 2,000, so it might have been like 1,500, 1,700. So I think that's what Pulsechain will do, and I think Pulsex can do the same.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. This is a hard one. Yeah, I'm with Corey on this one. I think we see at least. I'm hopeful we see at least hundreds of X's, multiple hundreds, especially, and we're talking from sack price. So best sacrifice price, hundreds. Certainly, I think 1,000 X's within the realm of possibility. I'm not underestimating Richard. Richard has said on stream that Pulsechain and Pulsex, the 10,000x is within the realm of possibility for both. And he's got $2 billion to be able to market make with, not including any of the OA money. So,
God, so much money.
I'm not going to bet against Richard, but my expectation is I built my bags and I've saved up enough money to be able to deploy more capital. Or if we do a 50x, like, I'm chilling. We're good.
You play the market cycle, not the X. You don't play the X's game.
Yes.
You play the market cycle game. Where are we at in the market cycle? Are we ready for the bear market to come back into place? Where's Bitcoin at? Where's Ethereum at? What's going on? And if you guys want some real alpha, go back and watch the B Root stream that we had. And he talks about this. And this is what Dane has been alluding to this whole show about having a market maker where Hex did exactly what a 10,000x looked like. Like it was perfect, right? And Richard Hart called it. Well, if you go back and watch the old Richard Hart streams on the Pulsechain Sacrifice first opened up, and B Roots called it, is like all you got to do is follow what RH is saying, because he's the market maker. And he said that Pulse can do what Ethereum did in its first cycle.
Yeah, that's a great point. There's some nuggets. If you guys aren't picking up what we're putting down, man, come back and watch the stream. I feel like we're giving it to you guys. A lot of these other freaking guys, they won't tell you what they really think. And we know that from experience. They won't tell you what they really think until you get them in person.
We're trying to do green room and they start, you're like, oh wow, okay.
So that's a good one. Well, we've got a few more questions. You guys just keep coming with the heat here. We've been going. This is fun. We got a little bit more time. What do you guys think about LP and EHEX and PHEX once Pulsechain launches? I've got a few ideas on this. So to me, the LP stuff, this is outside of my 90% core. This is my 10% like bag of fun. So I'm going to coin that, bag of fun. Sami, don't take that one from me. So your 10% bag of fun. Yeah, like if you want to go LP it, I think the key with LP being really interesting, I mean, you guys know this, I'm sure, but the two prices need to stay within a specific ratio of each other and move together to be able to not experience impermanent loss or to mitigate it. And so I think either one, I think early, I don't think the OA is going to go immediately and dump massive amounts of liquidity between the pair and like lock in pricing. I just don't think that's likely. Could it happen? Sure. I don't think it's likely. And if they were to, well, that's probably not the place to LP. Well, the fees are not going to be very good if that were to occur, but you could feel pretty confident that they move together. So something to be said about that. But if I'm doing this with my 10% bag, well, I'm reaching for the big, juicy home run swings. I'm not looking for these little gains. So I'm not that interested in that pair personally. I'm just not currently thinking of a scenario where I think it's going to be really juicy and exciting, because once again, the crowd is already talking about doing that. And that's my thoughts. You feel differently, Corey?
No, not very much. I mean, obviously, if like the OA did go in there and provided this massive liquidity between the pair, so they did kind of move a little bit in unison with the Hart's Law, like how Johnny Chaos has been kind of preaching all over Twitter. If that were to happen, and then they added in like imagine if they added in like a 1,300% APY in the incentive token.
The degen part of me and my fun bag is in it.
Now you're in. Now you're in, right? I just sold you, right?
Yep.
Okay, absolutely. So that's how I would be sold into providing that. And it's not to say that Nate bags that's not going to be a good pair in general. It could be. It's just that, like how Dane was saying, if you got a 10% fun bag, if you will, why are you going to do that if it's something that's very stable, not making much yield? I mean, it just depends.
Yeah. Then the 10th or the 16th, one of our B days, right, Dane? Absolutely. 10th or 16th. You heard it here first. We're pulling for 10th or the 16th mainnet. So when we're streaming on my birthday, you guys can join us for Pulsechain launch. You heard it here first. Then the next one are the plays on that ecosystem.
That's it. Yeah, Money Gang, 100%. If you want to play in the ecosystem, that's where the value is going to be at.
Yeah.
Long term. Obviously, you're going to have DGen short-term value.
Yeah. Do you need to be a U.S. citizen to participate in your real estate investing side of things? So the assets that we buy as far as real estate are concerned, at least currently, are in the States. I would recommend talking with a CPA to see what that may or may not mean for you if you're not in the United States, how that may or may not impact you tax-wise, if it's still advantageous, all those types of things. But no, absolutely. If you want to come and participate, the more the merrier. We're going to be doing a lot more real estate focused content for the crypto community in 2025 as we feel like we're nearing the top.
Probably 24. You guys get some education out there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Before we can build up that educational platform for everybody going into 25 when we want to decide to take those profits.
Yeah. Speaking my language, I'm watching those pairs on testnet where they're pairing Pulsex with the incentive token and Pulsechain as well. They're over 1,000x or 1,000% APR. And I'm like, gosh, if it gets like that on mainnet, my 10% bag of fun, I want a piece of that action.
Absolutely.
And it's
And
fun
guys,
because, like, think about it, a farm, like, you don't have to put in tons of money in order for it to be
no,
juicy early on. And then you can use the yield that you made the farm to continue to build your bags. So here's a strategy. I've been thinking a lot about this one. So here's the one that I'm hopeful to go and play. And once again, it's not going to be a massive part of my bag, but I want to go play the game if the APRs are as juicy as they may be on mainnet. If you go and you pair Pulse and Pulse X together in the pair, it may not be the juiciest one, but that pairing is going to print you more Pulse and Pulse X. You're going to earn fees in those two assets, which is cool. And you earn the incentive token from being in that pair. And so literally you could just do that one time and leave it alone. You plan to ride that into the sunset till 2025. You pair that, it's generating those things the whole time. And then from there, if those pairings with pairing the incentive token with Pulse X and with Pulsechain end up being super juicy, well, then you just take the yield that you're making from your first pairing and you could go participate in those farms as well. And like, you don't have much at risk. You don't have to be crazy.
Right. Using the yield to be more the degen on the other pairs.
Yeah. You're playing the game. And I'm telling you guys, for me at least, there's a lot to be said about playing the game. It's so much more fun to be in crypto, doing things like LP providing or farming, or even if you know long term, or like if all I do is just hold some Pulse X and some Pulsechain and Hex, like that's great. It's just boring. And if you're bored, are you going to be able to hold long term? I think that's a very legitimate concern. I really do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like being married. If you're in a very stable but boring relationship, people leave those relationships for the fun, shiny objects. They do it every day. And so, like, if you want to be in a long-term relationship, then you've got to find a way to be able to keep it fun amidst, ideally stability. I really like stability in my relationship. We keep it fun too, and it makes it so both of us want to stick around. You know what I mean?
Yep. 100%. I love this.
I love that no one is talking about Icosa on Pulsechain.
Randy is, and he's in the chat. Randy, stop it.
Stop it. Stop sharing all the secrets. What about the OA doing something on EHEX to preserve its value so it can achieve parity with PX?
That's the Johnny Chaos narrative.
Yeah, there's no guarantees. I'm personally not making a giant bet that's requisite on that needing to occur for me to be really happy. But it could. And that's where, once again, like, you want to, in my opinion, it makes sense to play whatever games you feel like are most likely to do well. And that way you're spreading out your risk. Your plan has lots of things that can go right. And so if even just one or two or a few of those go right, you're in a good spot. That's why we're big fans of playing the Pulse X, Pulsechain, Hex, type of, we're playing all three of them.
Yep.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for the answers. Absolutely. Yeah, loving your guys' honesty here as always. Hey, no, seriously, like, we appreciate that. We really do. It's funny to go on Twitter and some of the guys just don't want to hear it, when you're coming with a take that isn't the same old, everyone in a circle jerk saying the same kumbaya that we're all going to ride off into the sunset. They don't want to hear it, some of them. So we appreciate you guys being here. We really do.
Yep.
What's up with the warning on fiat law again about living in the U.S.? Is that a serious issue? You got to make your own decision on that one. I can't tell you what to do or what not to do. I can tell you what I feel about it for my own bags. And my feeling on that is it's a cover your butt type of thing.
That's it.
Regulations are not clear in the United States. In fact, Coinbase is suing the SEC to get clarity. Love that move. And they've got the money to do it. So I like that move a lot. Props to Coinbase. It's a CYA thing so that if push comes to shove, they could say, hey, we told people. So act accordingly, however you see fit for your portfolio.
That's exactly what that is. And I mean, if it scares you, don't participate. I mean, but we're in crypto. It's all risky stuff anyways. And I'm participating.
You can send it to me. If you're scared, send it to me.
I live in the
Yeah,
U.S. and I got myself a pretty good sized bag of fiat, so I'm participating.
Yep. How did ETHW and ETHFair get their prices? Pulsechain should be much more valuable. Yeah, way more valuable. I imagine. I mean, they're getting price. Yeah, people are putting pairs. You had the oracles. I mean, and
There's
we've
people
seen.
participating in those chains. I mean, it's not a lot of participation, but there's some.
Yeah,
There's a little bit of activity over there, especially in the beginning. Now it's kind of died off, but yeah.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If you have tokens on centralized exchanges, that's never a good play. If you haven't used Trust Token before, and you're, in fact, I think they're a national exchange. I think they work all over the
They're
world.
national. I'm not sure of all the different states. Like
Or
they're in
international.
Australia, they're in Europe, they're in
Yeah. Trust Token's dope. You can go and you create an account. You have to KYC. You go create an account. You put in your information. You put in your bank account information as well as your hardware wallet. And then when you wire in your funds, they will literally deposit stablecoin right into your hardware wallet. So you're not stuck on some centralized exchange, which
they
is
mint
great.
it right there, the TUSD, and then you can go and participate in any DeFi protocol you want. It's absolutely beautiful. And most banks don't flag it. I know Dane had one time where his bank flagged it once, but it's very rare. Well, I use B of A, and like B of A will flag Coinbase, B of A will flag Crypto.com. I used to, back in the day, I used to use FTX as an on ramp, and they flagged FTX, and they've never flagged Trust Token for me.
Yeah, it's been pretty smooth. Glenn says he'll be up 1% plus today in his first LP position. Be nice to get sophisticated in this LP realm. Mastermind helps share ideas more collectively than we are alone. Yeah, we're playing the game. We like our. We both have LP positions open right now.
Yep, I got my laptop right here with my LP. That's the one fun thing about LPing is that you're being an active participant in the ecosystem, and so it's just a lot of fun to stay busy. Especially in this bear market. You can see right here, I got got everything right here.
That's fun. Block the incentive token is called BBC Big Bonus Coin. Let's go. Absolutely. I think this is a good one. After Pulsechain launch, do you think Icosa will not dump as much on Ethereum because of the high staking percentage? Corey and I might vary on this one. I feel real strongly that anything in the RH ecosystem is on ETH is going to see a big dump initially, or a reasonable dump, because people are going to want to sell off assets to bridge over to Pulsechain. Do you disagree with that, Corey?
No, I don't disagree with that. I feel like a lot of people are going to be I feel like a lot of people are going to be dumping ecosystem assets.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, the dump might be lighter. Yeah.
He's right, because it's not the narrative everyone's preaching to everybody, like the Hex narrative. No one's out there telling everyone to buy Icosa so you can get the copy and trade that. That's not the narrative. That's not being, now there's going to be, I guarantee, a lot of community members doing it, though. So it's just, yeah. I mean, when I have liquid, I'll be dumping my liquid. Like my Icosa, I have a lot staked, but my liquid Icosa, it's getting dumped. My liquid Hedron, it's getting dumped. My liquid, whatever I have liquid, once I get the copy, because I'm going to bring that economic energy over to Pulsechain. And it's not a lot, over my total portfolio. My liquid's very small because I am participating in the ecosystem staking. But what is liquid, that will get transferred over to Pulsechain.
Sure. Do you think Shanghai upgrade has to be implemented into the V4 before mainnet launch? No, yeah, we talked about this earlier. Doesn't have to. They've said in the Pulsechain dev chat in Telegram that they are going to be doing that. And the plan was this week. So I think I'd be a little bit surprised if they didn't implement it and went ahead and launched. It seems to make a lot of sense to test that. I don't see any reason not to test it. But yeah, they don't have to. Good point, Randy. Yeah, no AMM bot for ETHW and ETHFair. It's a great point. Oh, that's interesting. One thinks we should do a show just on Trust Token. Yeah, in fact, we could probably do an exchanges in general show.
You know what? We didn't do hardware wallets today. We can do a show on hardware wallet and Trust Token because they kind of go together in a way. We can do a whole show just around those two particular topics. I think it would be very advantageous for the whole community.
Yeah, I like it. I think Ren nailed this. The only pre-bridge trade I'm touching is trading my Pulsex for some PHEX. So I'm going to
love that.
Order. Yeah, and hope that somebody will fat finger their PHEX to my benefit.
Man, Ren, quit giving all the secret sauce, bro. This is like this is us only, okay?
That's right. And I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful the limit orders are open at launch. That'd be great to be able to like set in
It'd be
some
great.
insane ratios, and you're like, if this hits, I'll be
But I
pumped.
know
And you don't
I
have
know
to
how to
think
crunch
about it.
the math. I can crunch the math. I mean, if you got to crunch the math, you write everything down, you get ready. I mean, it's just like
I
when
want to sleep, man. I want to go to sleep in the night.
I get it. It's like when I participate in the HSI auctions, which were freaking phenomenal over the weekend, guys. Oh my god, it was so good.
Corey crushed it.
Like
Yeah.
I wrote down all my numbers. I wrote down what I knew to be at, and I mapped out my whole strategy before I went into the auctions, and then I went in there and I was able to deploy with very fast accuracy because I'd already had everything all mapped out.
Yeah. Trust wallet got hacked the other day. Oops, sorry. Hopefully we fixed it. Yeah. I don't know anything about that. Keep in mind, if you're referring to Trust Token and Trust Wallet are two separate
different
companies, totally different things. So they're not related.
Correct.
Yeah. Hey Francis, what's up, Francis? Two more questions, and then we'll finish out. This has been a great show. Move some pre-bridge coins to a separate wallet while still at zero value, then assign it to your self-directed Roth IRA, Trust, or LLC when you figure out. Not a bad play.
Talk to CPA,
I
but
like
yes.
I like it. What about fork of Uniswap v3? There's literally no info about it.
He can implement it later. It's just one of those things. Like he doesn't need to have it now. You might be pleasantly surprised when mainnet comes. It's there. We just don't know. But it's like the Shanghai thing. We don't need to do Shanghai. He could plug that in later. We are building a layer 1 blockchain, guys, where there's going to be continuously building on top of it as we're moving along, and new updates can be implemented as we're moving along. And V3 is one of those things. You don't need it now. If we have it, great. If not, then we'll have it when we have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you see mainnet date announcement, albeit short, to ensure a fair launch for those in different time zones? I think that Richard, frankly, might consider it more fair not to announce it, so that people have less ability to game the system.
Agreed.
I'm feeling pretty strongly. I think that Richard gave away the farm a little bit in showing us with V4.
Yep.
I don't think that he wants. I'm telling you guys, you heard it here first. I think that Richard is going to slow roll the launch. He'll stealth launch it. I think he'll slow roll the liquidity. He'll slow roll the marketing. I think for the first maybe 30 days, maybe a little longer, so that you have people and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we haven't heard from Richard. What are we gonna do?" And you see a sell off. I really think that's relatively likely. So we get a nice decent sell off, get some more lettuce hands out early, and then Richard comes to life, and off we go to the races.
I think you nailed it right on the head, man. I do, and that's just picking the puzzle apart from prior performance, and and Hex, and then seeing what he's done with the test nets, and it's just I think if it's not that, it's going to be very similar.
Agreed.
You've kind of nailed it.
Charlie says he won't be sleeping. Here's a life hack that we implemented. We have a virtual assistant that we hired. So when we're sleeping,
we hired someone out in the Philippines for $5 an hour to monitor the GitHub and Richard Hart's socials. But the GitHub will be the first place where it will pop, and the update. You can go on to what I say Go Pulse, or one of the other clients like Lighthouse. And as soon as the client's updated for mainnet, you'll know right there in GitHub. And you can put a VA just to watch that 8 hours a day. Kind of boring, but they can sit there and watch that 8 hours a day and wait for the update. And they can call you, wake you up.
Yeah. So great show today. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. We know that you take time out of your day. It means a lot that you come here. You feel like we provide value. If there's things that you think we should talk about, if you want to come and be on the show, you have something to say that's important, you have a story to tell, feel free to message us. We love interacting with you guys. The open mic show on Fridays has been awesome to be able to hear from you guys. So come check that out. We love all of your guys' feedback. Seriously, it's really helpful. Do we have anybody on tomorrow? We do not have anybody on tomorrow. So yeah, let's plan on doing the Let's plan on doing the hardware wallet exchange type of
We
show
will.
tomorrow.
We might have. He hasn't confirmed. Sprabeck Burger, I think is
Oh,
his name.
Sprack
Sprack Burger.
Burgers, I think.
Sprack Burger, who's a TA guy. He's going to confirm with me later today, or not. Confirming one way or the other, and so we could do
Okay.
the. We'll do Trezor and Trust. If he's not on, if he's on, we'll do. He's doing in-depth TA analysis on all our favorite assets.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, Glenn scheduled the call, so I'm looking forward to chatting with Glenn later today about our group. Yeah, once again, you guys, if you want to check out our group, in fact, we should do a. I'll build a different link for you guys that's shorter and easier to be able to like type into your computer since you can't copy the banner text here. But if you want to jump on a call with Corey and I, you want to talk about our group, what we're doing with real estate and crypto, we'd love to talk about that. We're big advocates of coaching and mentorship and that type of stuff. We've made millions of dollars literally from being in those types of groups. This is no different of an opportunity. In fact, I feel like it's probably a more important one to get with like-minded people and execute
100%.
well. So if you like us, you think we're those guys that might be able to help with you, feel free to schedule a call. We'd love to chat with you. It is paid. Full disclosure, it's paid. All those types of things, and so no pressure. But we'd love to talk to you if you think we can help.
Yep, and we're going to be really, doing our best in the future, guys, especially for you guys who are really deep in the crypto ecosystem, mainly Richard Hart, and you got some pretty good sized bags coming up in here in 24 and 25, and you're going to be looking to take profits. Well, some real estate might be a good idea to get some exposure in. Just to, you don't have to go balls deep in it, but I mean, to have some exposure would be good for you, your portfolio, probably some of your tax gains. And so it's something thinking about that now while we're in the building stage of crypto. Like I said, crypto, we were building this a year ago. Well, with real estate taking profits, you're going to want to start thinking about building this idea and what you're going to do and having a plan in place a year before it happens. And so right now is a good time to start talking about it and have these conversations. And you don't have to be the guy out there buying the apartment buildings. We have people in our group that will do that. They will go out and buy apartment buildings. You park your money inside their, which is it's a fund, so it's all regulated by the SEC and everything else. It's unless it's a syndication. If it's a syndication, then it's not. The syndications are a little bit different. We can get in that deeper in that at a different time. But either way, you could park your money with high-level operators who are out there doing the real estate game, buying apartment buildings, buying mobile home parks, buying storage shed units, and you can get the same tax benefits and the same price appreciation and wealth preservation that you'd get if you were doing it yourself. And so we are building a group for that purpose. Now, the cool part of our group is these guys, these high-level operator real estate guys, we're teaching them crypto too. And they're onboarding money into the RH ecosystem via our assistants. So we're bridging those worlds together.
Yep. And we can tell you from personal experience, you don't want to be the ones finding the deals and being the operator. That is not a fun way to do real estate.
That's the way I did real estate for almost 10 years. It's like, nah.
It's exhausting to do it that
way. No more. I'll have fun building in crypto, and then I'll park my money with all these other badasses.
Yep, absolutely. So with that, once again, we appreciate you guys. Catch us tomorrow. We'll see you then.
See you guys.